What's poppin', folks? Welcome back to Chat with Charlie. I'm your host, Charlie. I'm so happy to have you back. I have another video for you today, and I'm basing it off of, again, something that I posted on Instagram. So again, if you're not following me on Instagram, please do. But without further ado, we're going to be talking about 5 things to do before you get married. This is the Chat with Charlie version. Y'all know I like to keep it real with you. No fantasies, no gimmicks, just real life. So let's get started. Number 1, I'm going to suggest that you talk to other married couples. My husband and I did this. Actually, we were featured in the Chicago Tribune, and we told our story about how we sat with several different married couples. We had dinner with people. We spent time at people's homes, just hearing their story. Now, these were just people from our own social circle, family members, friends, people from our church, all sorts of different married couples that we decided to just get their story. Who better to learn from if you feel like you want to be married or you're on the path to be married than other married couples? And the cool thing about what we did was that a lot of these people were in different phases of their life. Their marriages were very different. The culture of their families was very different. Some of them were a little bit older. They did marriage more the traditional way. Some of them were middle-aged couples. They did not. They had children before they got married, and their lives were just very different. Their socioeconomic statuses were different, but we learned a lot because my husband and I were both our parents were both divorced, and so for us, we didn't really see marriage on display when we were growing up in our homes for the most part, and so we just really wanted to learn from other people. So I would say a great thing for you to do is if you see a couple that seems healthy, they seem like they're thriving in their marriage and in their life, see if you could sit down and have dinner with them and just kind of pick their brain, make it natural and organic. It's nothing forced, but it would be great for you to learn from other married couples, and they could even be a source of just counseling for you as you move forward. It would be great for you to have that resource, okay? Number 2, on a different scale, we're going to talk a little bit about finances. I really do think that you should learn your investment style. My husband and I have been married for 10 years, and it's pretty much recently that we've sort of become investors. But I would say it would have been a real good benefit for us if we would have started investing a lot sooner in our marriage. And so if you are single and again, you're on that path to being married, I would say take a little bit of time, if you're not already, and start getting your feet wet with investments, just so that you can learn which ones work for you. Some people love to do real estate. You can even do things like Airbnb, short-term rentals, that kind of thing. For some people, they don't like real estate. They would prefer to do stocks or options. Whatever it is for you, start getting your feet wet a little bit, because something happens when you get married, especially if you're a Black millennial. A lot of us are trying to be entrepreneurial focused. We're trying to really break generational curses, set up wealth for ourselves and for our children, and that's probably going to happen after you get married. And so it'll be a really good thing for you to take time now and to learn which investments work for you, because once you combine that with another person, and y'all will really be able to build something together. They might be into real estate, you might be into stocks, options, bonds, things of that nature, and then you guys put that together and you will really be a powerhouse. So take some time to learn about investments. And along those same lines, take some time to think about your career/job path. So many people go into marriage and are still kind of curious and wondering, and what happens is, okay, what usually happens after you get married? Usually children come into play, right? And so then you find yourself kind of grappling, things get real, y'all find out y'all about to have a baby, and then it's like, what am I going to do with my life? You don't really want to wait for children to come for you to have that moment. So really think about your career path, dedicate some time and energy, sit down and talk to maybe some career coaches, some counselors, ideally people that you know that have successful careers that can kind of help lead you and guide you. I mean, a lot of us are focused on entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurship doesn't work for everyone. So if you are a person who does want to go the traditional kind of job route, try and figure some of those things out, just so that you don't bring any extra strain into your marriage. You sort of at least have a plan. It's not to say that it's going to be perfect. It's not to say that you're going to be making all the money that you're going to make, in your lifetime, but at least having a plan is going to be something that's going to bless your marriage, because you'll have a focus and it won't be something that'll weigh you and your spouse down trying to figure out what you need to do if an emergency happens or something like that. Y'all forgive me, my children are yelling in the background. So another thing that I think is really, really important to prepare for marriage is to go to counseling. Again, I know these points are all over the place, but I wanted to give you a little bit of everything. I actually recently had my first couple counseling sessions, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I'm going to be honest though, it wasn't like monumental and earth-shattering, like, oh my gosh, this was exactly what I was missing. I tend to be kind of like a really reflective person. I do think a lot. That's like my introverted side. I do love to journal. I love to talk to people. I like to have deep conversations. I pray, you know, things like that. And so it wasn't like it was anything that I learned that was like earth shattering, but it was really good to have someone to bounce my thoughts off of and to bounce my emotions off of. In some ways, the counselor that I chose to go with a Black woman because I wanted someone that would understand my experiences, and I didn't want to have to go through these extra hurdles wondering if this person, you know, understood what I was saying and all of those things. So I chose to go with a Black woman. I'm so happy that I did, because a lot of what I was going through, she had been through before. She was a mother. She had 2 children, and so she could kind of relate to a lot of what I was experiencing. And so anyway, it was just nice. It really was. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I'm very passionate about. When you're married, you don't want to assume that your spouse is going to be able to carry the burden of your personal growth. It's still your responsibility as a married person to strive to be healthy, to be working on developing yourself, reading books, growing for yourself. And so when you go to counseling, you're really putting yourself in a healthy position, and you're really blessing your future spouse so that they can know that they're dealing with someone who's going to continue to develop and grow as a person, and that burden is not going to be on them. Honestly, a lot of times our marriages are weighed down with problems and issues because individually as spouses and as partners, we're not doing our part to seek the proper help outside of our marriage to get healthy so that we can be a blessing to our spouses. So don't do that. You know, try and work on personal development and personal growth before you get married, and continue that tradition. It could be even a counseling session once a month. You know what I'm saying? It could be a special journal that you're doing, or maybe even like a group that you're a part of. Maybe it's not traditional counseling. Maybe it's a group of men that you meet up with once a month for, you know, encouragement and accountability. Maybe it's a group of women that you guys meet up at the park and y'all go exercising. But be working on your personal growth. Really, that's the point. Work on growing as a person so that you can really be a blessing in your marriage, and that you can continue to grow and not get lost in your marriage, right? And so lastly, number 5, my advice would be to babysit for some family members or some friends. Y'all, especially if you don't have experience with children. If you have experience with children, maybe this is not as applicable for you. But if you do not have experience with children, I would highly recommend that you find some friends, some family members who need a babysitter, and either spend time at their house while they're there so that you can just kind of observe their interaction with their children, or offer to babysit. It seems like advice that's like off and out there, but it's not. It's very, very helpful for you. Before I had children, okay, I remember I had babysat before, but there were just things that I did not know. And so I would say that anything that you can do to give yourself as much information as you can about children and what it really takes to raise children, I would say to do it, because it's a beast, man. When you get hit with kids, and especially if you don't have a lot of help like my husband and I do, it's a beast. And so we have some help, and shout out to the people who do help us. We love you and appreciate you. But you know, it's tough. And so just sit down with some people, see how they interact with their children, and ask them about their experiences and offer to babysit. You know, it's a whole different ball game. It's not what you think it is. And so anyway, guys, these are 5 things that I think honestly would be great for a couple to do even together. Babysitting. My husband and I actually did this. We did it while we were married though. Before we had children, we did babysit for a couple friends of ours, and it was great. It was great to see each other in action with the kids. So I hope that you are blessed. I hope that you're finding encouragement and just real life solutions here on my channel. Definitely follow me on Instagram because I'm more active on Instagram, and I have a lot of little tips and tricks and things that I post and just helpful resources for you. And visit my website, www.chatwithcharli.com. Charli does not have an E. So pretty much everywhere that you can find me, I am at Chat with Charli, okay? So anyway, if you have any questions for me, if you have content that you want me to do, things that you want to ask me or suggest, just hit me up in the comments. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit notifications so that when new videos drop, you will know about it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'm rooting for you. And I will talk to you in another video. Bye.